This is Dolynny TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, and welcome back to another Sunday edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. And well, my goodness, 2 draft videos in a row in 2 days. I think that's a major milestone here on Dolynny TV. That is something we never really cover much of because honestly, there's way too much else going on for me to start doing profiles and draft picks and this is why I want this guy or this is why I want that guy. I don't have the time. Unfortunately. However, what I do have the time for on a sleepy Sunday afternoon where it's raining, smoky, and all gray and whatever the heck it is outside, I do have time to sit and listen to Sportsnet's Sam Cosentino break down his takes and little takeaways, I guess, heading into the final 48 hours before the NHL Draft for the Edmonton Oilers. And well, Tony Brar asked him the tough questions, and the question we got to focus on is when you put together your mock draft, Sam Cosentino, who do you have sitting there at 14 for the Oilers? And it's a guy, hey, I've actually talked about this guy. This is the impressive part. I've actually gone out and talked about this guy without needing this video, but I, in that video, said more than likely you should pass on Yaroslav Askarov should he be there at 14. That is who Sam Cosentino has picked at 14 for the Edmonton Oilers. But I must say, you know what, even with a guy like Sam Cosentino mock drafting that Yaroslav Askarov comes to the Oilers at 14, it's not right. It's not that I don't respect what Askarov is. It's not that I don't think Askarov would be a good pick. It's simply put, we can use that pick for other things, better things, and potentially much more than just one guy. That is, of course, going back to yesterday's The Panel broadcast by the Oilers on social media, in which Jack Michaels and Bob Stauffer inferred to a currency pick, the 14th overall, becoming, like, say, the 28th, 29th overall, and 2 seconds or a second and a third or some kind of package of 2 or 3 picks, in which the Oilers are, in this very deep 2020 draft, able to pick up another guy. So Askarov, we've already been over that. I will refer you to the video I did, what was that, about half a month ago now. And that video's actually picked up steam here recently again. I don't know why, but for whatever reason it has. However, I will just go out of my way here and double check some stats for you here on Askarov, because they are pretty fun stats when you look at it. Yaroslav Askarov, he's had 3 games played over in CSK or SKA St. Petersburg. I think that's CSK Moscow. Or is that SKA St. Petersburg? I don't know. I swear I know where he plays, but I guess not. However, 974 save percentage and a .74 goals against average in 3 games played this year in the KHL, and he's had 2 games in the VHL, 252 goals against average and a 900 save percentage. So you add up those numbers look good for a goaltender like Yaroslav Askarov. And here's the thing. Let's get back to my reasoning as to why we should pass on Askarov is simply because, yes, he's going to be a project. Sam Cosentino is talking about him ending up being like a Samsonov in Washington, in which he takes 5 years from the draft day to make a major impact in your NHL lineup. And at this point, I know everybody's kind of getting uppity about we need to really start winning now. So I don't see how using a first-round draft pick on Askarov solves that problem. And I think if anybody's to draw back after Ken Holland makes such a selection, it would be, why would we pick that guy when you can probably have a Seth Jarvis, Dawson Mercer, whoever's around at 14, Alexander Holtz, I'll even throw in there. Whoever's there at 14, if you can have them ready in 2 years' time, right? I'm no longer here rushing a guy into the lineup this season. However, at that same token, realistically, we are going to see these prospects play another full half season before coming into the NHL and being allowed to come into the NHL. So that's the interesting part here. If we're not talking an NHL start till December, January, February, over in the QMJHL, they've been going for a couple days now. KHL's been going, SHL's going, all these leagues are going, and if these guys get drafted, and all of a sudden come to suit up, say January 1st. None of us know when the next season will be, but come and suit up January 1st. Suddenly they've played from October to January in hockey on basically their second year draft eligible, but this is still only their first year draft eligible in which they're drafted, and that's probably what really throws the screw into the whole thing. Is you've got a whole new ball game when it comes to how you evaluate if you can put a prospect into your lineup. For the WHL guys and OHL guys, I think it's a little bit of a different story, but right, these guys are now all of a sudden an extra come hockey season, 3-4 months more progressed into their careers than they would be when it comes time for training camp regularly in September. So that's the interesting part there, is there's a lot to consider when it comes down to it, and of course how you rush or don't rush the prospect into the pipeline or the NHL lineup. But again, when Sam Cosentino is out here predicting that Yaroslav Askarov at best will take 4 to 5 years to be an impact player in the NHL lineup, that is not the use of the first round pick we'd like. Because if you can go out there, trade down, and get 2 to 3 guys that'll be ready in 2 to 3 years time, or even 1 to 2 years time, however you look on at this new finagled situation, really, how could you go wrong by having 2 guys ready to make an impact at the NHL level, right? If you get a guy in the first round, and because this draft's deep enough, a guy in the high second round, bang bang, job done, and you can get these guys into the lineup in 2 years time. And the Oilers have had some success, because guys, if you're worried about the Oilers having success next season, well, with the roster we've got going in at this point, I'm sorry, you're probably the same exact people that were worried about the Oilers having success going into the season last year, in which we finished second in the Pacific Division. So, end of the day, it's not the walls and the house aren't burning down in Oilers land. We just had a very successful campaign, and you know what? You want to say, well, this is the results, but this is the results in a world we never even dreamed of when the season started in 2019. So to finish second in the Pacific Division when everything was called to a quits, not exactly the worst thing. Yes, I know there's room that the Oilers very easily could have slipped into a wild card position. I'm not oblivious to that, but it's still a successful campaign in which we finished in a prime playoff spot when the season was hauled to an end. So this is one of those picks where the Oilers have that situation, is kind of how you approach it. And honestly, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if the Edmonton Oilers end up choosing Yaroslav Askarov, because by all accounts, everybody that talks about the guy raves, 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 and raves. And if everybody's raving about a first round goalie, that sounds pretty promising to me. You know what? They've talked about guys in the past that have been raved as first round goalies, and they've turned out all right. I think the last one that they talked about in the draft there, 2010, Jack Campbell, a situation similar more so to Samsonov, but came in and did some things in Toronto, and you just never know with goalies when it takes that time to click. Jordan Binnington, another guy, but outside of the first round. But again, I think everybody draws back when it comes to a high first round goalie in recent memory is, of course, Carey Price, right? That's where we go back to. But end of the day, I don't think at 14 the Oilers could go wrong with really anything they do. That's the thing. It's hard to go wrong in the top 15 of this draft, depending who's available there. But it's also hard to go wrong with trading down and getting a high-end talent in the back end of the first round, and then a high-end talent in the top half of the second round. Again, all remains to be seen. I guess we'll see how it shakes out. But guys, you know what? Less than 48 hours to go. It's getting exciting. It's getting good. NHL Draft, well, live sometime on Tuesday. I don't even know the official time. Hopefully I'm off work by then. That's all I got to say. We got a crazy day at work the next 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. But ladies and gentlemen, I'll try to give you the best I can on Tuesday to get things going. Still trying to see if I can secure that couch over at my buddy Troy's house. But you know what? We got to find out. And we'll get that worked on. Guys, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. I'm going to let you go. This should be the last thing we have to talk about today, unless, should I check Twitter and tell you if the Oilers just made a trade? No, the Oilers haven't made a trade yet. I haven't gotten any text messages. Guys, Tyson, Dolynny TV, up on, out of here.